XRP is down over 38% the past 4 months, and investors are starting to lose hope. Not only that, but the entire crypto market has been getting absolutely destroyed over the past month, down 20 to 50%, causing a lot of people to believe that this bull market is over. But yet, the 30 top bull market peak indicators are all saying that this bull market is not over. So with this conflicting data here, we have to talk about what's actually going on with XRP and the rest of the market. In this video, I'm going to share with you some key things that I'm watching that will be a major sign for when the bottom is in and when a massive reversal is coming. So if you guys want to learn how to make money on the way down, comment 777. And if you're still bullish, if you're still feeling blessed, comment 777. Because in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what's going on with XRP and the rest of the market. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a better understanding of what's about to happen the rest of this market cycle. So if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So with XRP selling off right here from 250 to 230, we talked about this bearish cross right here on the stochastic RSI and the daily chart when XRP was upwards of $2.60 to $2.70. In fact, on October 30th, I did a live call inside of our accelerator program in Altcoin Pro. It was about an hour and 27 minutes long, answering all the questions live, breaking down exactly how to spot reversals on these charts. And I talked about the short opportunity at about $2.65 and gave my prediction for how it would play out. And combining that with our short selling indicator here at the bottom of the screen, you guys can clearly see how many higher highs there were on the price chart right here and lower highs there were on the relative strength index. So by the time this momentum was lost to the downside and XRP was getting rejected from this descending resistance up here, the bullish momentum was lost and we were going to go to the downside. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And our members inside of Altcoin Pro that took that trade made a lot of money. Now, XRP continued to the downside and we're seeing it sell off even further. So what do we need to look at here? And how do you play this downtrend right now? Well, in my video yesterday, I talked about the 20, 50, and 200 EMA and compared it back to the last few bull run cycles. And a lot of people are concerned that this bull run is over. So here's what we're looking at here. Compared back to the 2021 cycle, when XRP sold off, from the high of that cycle down to 50 cents right here on the weekly chart, it briefly broke below and closed below the 50 EMA. Now, right now on the right-hand side of the screen, we are at the 50 EMA. Depending on how this daily candle body closes tonight, we will see if we break below it or right at the 50 EMA. And simultaneously, the stochastic RSI on the weekly is at 13 and 12 in oversold conditions. Now, back here from the 21st of June of 2021 until the 26th of July, the stochastic RSI was all the way down here at 0, and then we saw an aggressive pump back to the upside above the 20 EMA, and the stochastic RSI rallied all the way back up here to 80 before the next bearish cross, and then sell off to the downside. So my prediction for XRP in the short term is a little further selling to the downside, and then I do expect this to get bought back up and to see a reversal on the stochastic RSI and the relative strength index as well. But continue watching this video because I'm going to explain what would need to take place in order for this to happen and in order for XRP to break out of this downtrend, because this is still a very obvious downtrend here, similar to what we were going through the last bull run cycle where XRP just failed to break the previous high. And it was just a series of lower highs throughout the entire bear market to the bottom. So a lot of people are concerned that we're going through this right here and XRP's bull run is over. Now, is that actually true? Well, let's discuss it. Because even with Ripple making these acquisitions, they even announced another one right here today saying they acquired Palisade, which is a digital asset custody infrastructure company, to use their wallet as a service platform to help power Ripple's next-gen custody and payments infrastructure. So even with Ripple acquiring Hidden Road, G Treasury, breaking into the $120 trillion corporate treasury payments market, spending over $1 billion on them, partnering with securities to enable RLUSD transfers for BlackRock's Buildle Fund and VanEck's VBuild tokenized funds, yet XRP continues to sell off, leaving a lot of people confused and a lot of hate comments on previous videos saying technical analysis doesn't matter. But the funny part is that with the most bullish fundamental news, the technicals tell us a story. So actually, in my opinion, technical analysis is more important right now than the noise on social media. You could virtually ignore everything everyone says, and if you learn how to do technical analysis, it'll give you an accurate view on the market with no bias here. Every single candle body close, every single wick tells a story here. So what is the story that we're seeing right now being told on XRP? Well, it's very easy to see that XRP is in this bearish channel right here on the weekly, just forming lower highs and lower lows, pulling all the way back from the all-time high. Now, simultaneously, looking at the stochastic RSI, we saw a bearish cross all the way up here above 80, showing that we were in overbought conditions. Very similar to how we saw a bearish cross all the way back here in December when we were in overbought conditions. We not only saw this bearish cross, but we saw this bearish divergence with this higher high right here and a lower high on the stochastic RSI, also a lower high on the relative strength index. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, I've been talking about this in previous videos. We've also been talking about it on the accelerator calls, breaking this down in detail for you guys. You can get on the waitlist for the program if you're inside of Altcoin Pro. We're doing live calls every single week. And also we have even more calls on the calendar too every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But to put it simply for you guys, when we see these key indicators like the stochastic RSI experience bearish crosses up above 80, that's a sign that momentum has been really strong to the upside and it's not a good time to buy. What we want to look for is we want to look for the opposite below 20 like we're experiencing right now. Now, it doesn't mean that the sell-off is done. For example, when we dip below 20 all the way back here, XRP was at about $2. We saw this short-term bounce followed by a continuation to the downside back to the 50 EMA before we ranged for a bit, then broke out. So while this downtrend is continuing for XRP, we need to see this downtrend change and we need to see a sign of strength. So that's why we move into more micro time frames like the daily, the 4 hour, or the 1 hour. So right now on the daily chart, we were able to spot this bearish cross on the stochastic RSI. Sure enough, XRP pulled back from $2 and almost 70 cents. And now the stochastic RSI is at 53 and 40 for the K line and the D line. We're not yet down here closer to zero. So which tells me XRP has more ranging to do either sideways or potentially going lower in the short term in this downtrend, and this sell-off is not yet over. If, on the contrary, the stochastic RSI was all the way down here closer to zero, then I might be more bullish for a aggressive recovery to the upside. However, this is what we look for on the price chart because the RSI is at 37, the stochastic is in the middle of a range right here. This is why I called for the short on XRP instead of Altcoin Pro. Now, this is why, in my opinion, just based on the data and what we're seeing on the charts here, the technicals right now have more importance than the fundamentals because the Federal Reserve just announced that they're going to be shifting from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing December 1st, which is theoretically a bullish signal, and the Fed just injected $22 billion into the banking system today, yet the entire crypto market is pulling back over 11% for virtually all these projects, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11%. Also, on top of that, in the FOMC meeting, they lowered interest rates 25 basis points, which theoretically, based on fundamentals, should be bullish. So this is why it's super important to pay very close attention in the charts. And it's more important than ever before to learn how to do technical analysis rather than just listening to what someone like Donald Trump says or every single social media influencer telling you we're just going to go to the moon.
Now, China's getting into it very big right now. If you want to go after people, you're going to kill that industry, and it'll be very bad. Tremendous number of jobs. I campaigned positively on crypto, very openly. I campaigned. Biden campaigned against it. When Biden found out that I was getting like 100% of the crypto vote, which was a lot, he switched totally and he went in favor of crypto. They went totally in favor. They had many people under indictment. They let them all go. They let them all go. You know that. Many people were under indictment. Biden was a corrupt president. Biden went all in on crypto at the very end because he thought he could get some votes. It didn't work. They voted for me. I want to make crypto great for America. That's the only thing. I don't want to have somebody else have crypto and have China be #1 in the world in crypto. Because in crypto, it's a kind of an industry where basically you're going to have #1 and you're not going to have a #2. And right now we're #1 by a long shot. I want to keep it that way. The same way we're #1 with AI. We're #1 with crypto, and I want to keep it that way.
So clearly Trump wanted more votes to get elected. So the obvious way to do that is to be bullish for crypto because you're going to get all the crypto investors to vote positively for you. And just because there's liquidity to the upside doesn't automatically mean that market makers are going to just pump the markets to grab it. There's still a tremendous amount of sell pressure right there as well too. That's not a liquidity grab for market makers. That's a sell wall so strong that they couldn't pump it up if they wanted to. And people are looking for an exit right now. So any pump, expect there to be a lot of offloading to get out of the market. And smart people get out first, but the reality is the majority of people will wait until their bags turn into dust. So this is why we're seeing Bitcoin's dominance continue to rally higher. If we go into the daily chart here, we can see the RSI is at 67. We're not yet in really overbought conditions above 70 here. That shows that Bitcoin's dominance could go even higher. In fact, if we draw the Fibonacci retracement tool from the high to the low here, the Goldilocks zone, so to speak, would be between 50% to 60% 618 right here. So between this zone, and that's roughly about 61% to 62% for Bitcoin's dominance before we see momentum roll over to the downside. Now it could stop short of that. It could go higher than that. We will just see. But nonetheless, we're still in an uptrend, forming higher highs and higher lows in Bitcoin's dominance. So that just tells me that Bitcoin is a safer play right now than altcoins. And what Total 2's chart is showing me is also confirming that. We've been in a downtrend here on the stochastic RSI on the weekly. The relative strength index is at 47. So if we zoom in here on the daily chart, we can also see that the stochastic RSI formed a bearish cross all the way up here alongside XRP, with the market cap being at about $1.55 trillion in this downtrend right here, just forming a lower high. And now that we're breaking below this zone of support, right now this is causing a lot of worry in the altcoin market. The next zone of support is all the way down here, and we're wicking off of it right now. Anything below that is all the way down here at like 1.27 to like $1.2 trillion. So because the stochastic RSI is at 35 and 30 on the daily, the relative strength index is at 34, and we haven't yet seen the stochastic RSI bottom out, while Bitcoin's dominance continues trending higher, simply means that altcoins could continue to be selling off. And this is just not the best news right now until we see some sign of strength and a reversal back to the upside. Arguably, we need to reclaim this support, and we even need to push all the way up here above $1.55 trillion before we can be bullish again, because while we continuously sell off and experience these bounces, they're going to be met with aggressive selling pressure while these key indicators bottom out down here closer to zero on the stochastic RSI. And then the relative strength index, it never usually gets down to zero. Sometimes it'll come down to 20. So I would want to see the RSI dip below 30, find a bottom here, and form some type of bullish divergence while the price chart just makes lower lows, potentially coming all the way back down to 1.27 to, $1.28 trillion would be the zone of support that I would want to see. Right here, there's this candle body closed at about 1.34. A lot of people have their stop losses just right below that are longing the market, to where my expectations would be for the markets to take that out and then experience a reversal back to the upside where everyone gets the most bearish right through here thinking that the bull run is over. This would be my expectations. Now, nobody knows, and I don't know exactly what the price action is going to look like, but when you learn how to spot these divergences on multiple time frames, then it can make you a better trader, and you can learn how to short the market when everyone is bullish. For example, this trade right here earned over $25,000 shorting XRP. This trade right here earned over $5,500 shorting XRP. And this is all talked about inside of Altcoin Pro University for you to learn how to do it yourself. You just go into the technical analysis essentials. Now, 99% of people that watch this video aren't going to go through this because they're just simply too lazy. They want to buy the top because it's the cool thing to do when everyone's talking about crypto. They buy into these bearish crosses, and then they see the market dump off to the downside, like what's happening right now, and then they complain. They call the industry a scam, when their lack of education is the scam. They're not even paying attention to the coaching calls that we offer people because they would rather lose their life savings just being an absolute idiot. And hey, some people need to go through the pain of losing all their money, buying in at the top, and then ultimately selling all the way down here, then watching the market make a recovery back to the upside to learn valuable lessons. Then those people decide to go through the education there. And that's just the way that the world works. It's kind of like how most people don't go to the doctor until they're sick. But for the smart investors like yourself, they educate themselves on a continual basis. For example, I just spent $30,000 for a 6-month mastermind to learn from people that make millions of dollars per month. So when I tell you to go to altcoinpro.com and spend the measly little $97, how I became a millionaire before 30 is by investing every dollar I ever made into education from the people who had the results that I wanted. Rather than investing in the market, I invested in myself first, because an investment in yourself will always yield you the biggest ROI. If you invest in your skills, no one can take that from you. And then you can learn how to legally print money on demand from these markets by applying the strategies that we teach. Because if you're just diving into altcoins right now outside the top 10, there are some outliers where you can catch some gains, but the vast majority are just going to underperform Bitcoin until we see this chart bottom out here. So I believe others has some more momentum to the downside until we see some signs of strength here back to the upside. And our research team will share opportunities with you when they arise. So if you want to make money right now with altcoins, you have to know exactly what narratives that the liquidity is going to flow into before everybody else. And I pay my research team tens of thousands of dollars to watch this market 24/7 because you have a full-time job. You just don't have time to do that, right? When you get off work, you might be tired, you grab dinner, you take care of the kids, and then you might watch this video while you're driving to work or after work. But the problem is the time that it takes me to make these videos, get them edited, upload it, the price action moves so quick on the chart. But on these live calls right here, every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you get the real-time alpha. Plus, in your downtime, you can go through these 100+ expert curated classes here to improve your education, because the main reason why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer is not due to a lack of resources. It's just a lack of resourcefulness. What I've seen from the wealthiest people that I've met, the millionaires that make tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars, and a few billionaires that I've met, is they're always focusing on personal development, their education. They're always investing money into learning. Whereas the poor people, they think investing in themselves is a scam, but yet they spend 50 grand or 100 grand on a college degree to then later get a job that they could have gotten straight out of high school, realizing that their degree doesn't really matter. The school of hard knocks matters. And the vast majority of people stop self-educating after their formal education, and they wonder why they stay broke. So at an early age, like 19, 20, 21, I was dumping every single penny I had into my personal development. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I think it's important to focus on this because it's actually a requirement for success. Now, you could try and learn it all yourself, but you're probably going to take 10 years and a lot of money spent, invested, lost. Well, if we can help you compress time frames for only $97 a month, and if you get results from that, then why would you want to spend 10 years where you just spend like a year or less learning from all of our mistakes and tapping into a community that's focused on the same thing? And here's the risk reversal here to get you to take action right now. If you're not happy, we'll give you 100% of your money back. Go to your bank that you took out the student loan from, ask them for a refund on the 20 grand, the 50 grand, or the 100 grand. They're going to laugh you out the door. If you're not happy with us, you can get your $97 back and get your $970 back if you lock in for the year to save. I think you're saving like $100 or two or something like that. Plus you get a couple bonuses. Within 14 days, if you're not happy for whatever reason, or if you just don't get results, ask for your money back. Go through, because the worst thing that you can do is not giving it a shot, not shooting. You know, a lot of people, they aim, they never fire. Pull the trigger, fire if it's not for you. Then at least you've given yourself the opportunity to try and to see if it's right for you. Because if you're sitting on the fence and you're just watching these free videos, you've definitely gotten value thus far. If you haven't gotten value from any of these videos, then I would encourage you to grab a journal, write down some questions, and approach these videos with an intention for what you want to learn out of them. But if you have gotten value and you appreciate these videos, I know you're going to absolutely love what you learn inside the back office. When you take action right now, click the link in the description below and attend the next Technical Analysis Tuesday call tomorrow. Underneath the calendar right here, after you get started, you just simply click the link. On the 4th, it's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a private Zoom link for you guys to be able to attend. So you can click to add it to your calendar, Google, Apple, or Outlook. We even have Yahoo as well too. And then just jump on. You can keep your camera off. You can keep your microphone off if you're uncomfortable with being on camera. And you can just sit there and learn, take some notes. And if you don't get any value, then just ask for a refund, dude. I don't need your money here. Your $97 isn't going to change my life here. Learning how to trade has changed my life. And the tiny little $97 that you spend right now after this video is going to be a little drop in the bucket compared to what you learn. And don't just take my word for it. Go check out some of the reviews on trustpilot.com. Just type in Altcoin Pro. We have 4.6 out of 5 stars. And these are real people. These aren't paid for reviews here. If you guys want to leave us a review, if you're an Altcoin Pro, I'd greatly appreciate it, because I'm greedy for testimonies here. I want more people to achieve success applying what we teach. That way you can walk away from the 99% and join the 1%. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I will see you on altcoinpro.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.